Another traditional dad podcast. I'm Nathan Ross, your host, and with me today we have entrepreneur, business owner. How old's your child?
She's just turned one.
Just turned one, so basically a new dad as well. So you're still working it all out, so which is great. So do you want to introduce yourself, Luke? Talk to me about your business. Talk to me about the setting you have at home, and your family setup.
No, appreciate the invite and
No problem,
introducing us, Nathan. So my name is Luke Beastall. Like I say, fitness, health, business coach.
man.
Obviously, a new dad as well. So over the last year, yeah, it's been pretty chaotic but fun and
Yeah.
rewarding to say the least. So yeah, my background really is fitness, is sport. You know, I played football at high level.
Oh, okay.
And then I guess from there, once I kind of stopped, I was like, what do I do? Do I go uni? Do I do this? And then I just kind of naturally flowed into personal training because I enjoyed the gym. I battled with depression.
Yeah.
I lost my identity, all that kind of stuff. And then,
Cool.
yeah, that got me into the entrepreneur mindset, traveled the world a little bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess pretty much for me, it just fueled that personal development. I wanted to learn, I wanted to grow, I wanted to
Yeah.
challenge myself. You know, is that competitive edge when you're an
Yeah.
athlete? You just want more, more, more.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I guess for me, it got me into that kind of world. And here I am now. I mean, obviously, I know I'm on your podcast. I've got my
Yeah.
own podcast as well. So it's pretty
Yeah.
cool to be on the other side.
Awesome.
So yeah,
Awesome,
I'm,
man.
I'm excited for this. Yeah.
Let's talk about your football career then, because I'm just intrigued myself. Right, so you've gone from this high sportsmanship, this arena of being a footballer and all that sort of thing, then to being obviously a dad. It's a big change.
Oh, massively. Yeah. I mean, it's rare. I mean, if we go back, I mean, I've played semi-pro
Yeah.
probably up until the ages of like 28, but I had a 3 year gap from 22 to 25 just purely because I was like out on cruise ships doing fitness out there and just
Wow.
traveling the world. But yeah, I mean, I got nursed with injuries, Nathan, but I think the other thing as well is I just got a lot of rejection. You
Yes.
know, I got messed around with football agents
Yeah.
promising me the world
Yeah.
and just flitting me about. But yeah, the change.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just put it this way: I've had to grow up. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and that's what happens when you have a child as well. We have to grow up, don't we? Massively.
yeah,
Okay, so let's talk about the run up until you had your firstborn. Let's talk about the family setup. Are you married? How did you meet your wife? And then how did you then go into being a dad? Did you own a business before you had your child and all that setup?
yeah. No, that's all good. I mean, how long you got really? This is I always no.
Let's have a gist of it.
Yeah, definitely. So, look, I've run a business since the age of 21.
Mhm.
So for me, it's always been a part of me. Fitness, like I say, is a big part of what I do. I believe this as well. Obviously, being a dad, as
Yeah,
much as we love to put our kids first, and I know family comes first, all that stuff. But
yeah,
you know, if you want to serve your family and your children, it's really important to start with you.
totally.
And that's something that I've always stood by. I don't feel it's selfish at all. I think
Yeah,
it's selfless more than anything.
yeah,
But meeting, I mean, I'm not married at the minute. I'll
yeah,
put that out there. We will get married. She's my fiance, Abby. So funnily enough, we met in the gym. So
yeah,
there
yeah.
you go. She was actually one of my PT clients. You
Yeah.
make your assumptions, but I was
I'm not
very,
saying nothing. I'm not
no,
saying
no. I, I,
nothing.
I have to say though, and this comes as a surprise to a lot of people, that she actually asked me out. So,
Oh, okay,
you
that's good.
know, I know she had the confidence.
You
So
had the confidence and you had the panache, as they say.
that's it, you know. So yeah, so I had the gym floor business. I would probably say it was chaotic, you know, running 50, 60 hours a week. You know, you're doing the work outside as well. So at that moment in my life, you know, kids were not on the mind, you know, or
Yeah,
starting
yeah,
a family. It was just purely business growth, drive the revenue,
yeah,
get some money behind. Obviously, I got on the property ladder as well,
yeah,
got my own place at 25. I was living on my own. And then obviously, Abby moved in during COVID. So
oh,
then COVID hit. Obviously, my business closed overnight. I was
yeah,
like, what do I do? So then obviously online came in. That become more popular. Obviously, I know you do online as well,
yeah,
Nathan. So yeah, for me, that was the transition. That was oh, okay. So let's learn what this is all about. Because I think for me, I'd always be, well, I still am a people person, but I think it was adapting to that. And
of course.
then yeah, 2023, big year. So that was only last year. We put the house on the well, it was an apartment, put that on the market, sold that. Abby was pregnant beginning of January, so it was like, oh, here we go, got to
Mhm.
rush now. It's
Yeah,
like, oh, I want to get out, want to get this, you know, detached house, all this
Yeah.
stuff. Market was all over the place. You can remember the mortgage rates
Yeah,
going
do you
up. It
remember them
was,
times? Yeah.
yeah. So it was chaos. We obviously got through. You know, you made it work and stuff. But I think there was just, I mean, even what I say today, I'll never really show and tell you the true reflection of what we was going through. But let's just put it this way: finances were tight, stress was at an all-time high, and obviously I was dealing with 7 or 8 month pregnant fiance when we moved into our new house. So
Yeah, yeah.
it
Yeah.
was
Let's just say
it was
it was
mad.
a very hard testing time for both of you.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's 100%. I think the one thing that got us through was, as I said to you before we started recording this more so, was just the communication. You know,
Yeah.
making sure we always knew where we stood with
Yeah.
our emotions and how we was feeling.
So let's talk about communication because I know it's at the forefront of your relationship with Abby. I know it's at the forefront of what you do with your entrepreneurship. So let's talk about how best you communicate as a dad in a marriage because most of the time, a lot of people in relationships get at lockerheads, don't they? Sometimes you can feel like you're fighting each other. Sometimes you can feel like you're not on the same page. Sometimes you can feel like you're literally battling with your kids, your wife, and your own stresses and what life throws at you. So, how have you learned as a dad to be a better communicator, deal with communication issues, and how do you best move forward practice-wise?
Yeah, good question. So I think it's something that I learned in business before obviously I started becoming a dad was having boundaries. So I was terrible at boundaries. You know, I had no sort of not I'm not saying I totally switch off because it's really hard to switch off when you're on your own business, but just having that like, right, comms are off, you're relaxing. Or, you know, now obviously being a dad, it's like on a Thursday as an example, that morning it's daddy daughter day. You know,
Yeah.
it's literally I do the morning, I do everything. You know, I get her up, brush her teeth, you know, do a breakfast, do the whole lot. It's even
Mhm.
though Abby's there, she might go out and do something, but it's like she allows me to take control of that. And she doesn't like originally at the start, she'll know that she did this. She kind of
Yeah.
peeked in, looked over me,
Yeah.
oh, you know, wanted to, you know, jab
Yeah.
in a little bit. And we had a conversation about that. It wasn't a full-blown argument or anything, but there was a bit of conflict. You know, I
Yep.
was like, I feel like you're watching me all the time. I know you've got that mother instinct, but just let me do it. Let me learn.
Yeah.
I want to get to grips
Like
with
that.
this. So
Yeah.
it was getting to the, you know, that point where it was never, I guess it's tough because when obviously you've got a little one, you know, rolling over, crying, needy, whatever, to have that conversation there and then it had to happen really once she was
Yeah.
asleep, when she went to bed. So that's an example that we did. But the communication aspect, we've always, you know, I mean, we know when our energy is a little bit like we know each other really well in terms of if something's getting bottled up, you can
Yeah.
feel it ready to explode. So
The tension.
question, yeah. So we just literally just go, are you okay? Is everything all right? But we don't just ask once, we ask again and again and again and again to the point where something's going to happen where you go, well, actually, no, I'm not. Okay.
Hmm.
Well, I'm here. I'm listening. I'm not on my phone, not looking, scrolling through stuff. I'm like, tell me what's up, what's going on, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just little things like that that do make a difference.
Do you think that because a lot of the time, let's be real, a man's usually stressed out, aren't they? So they've gone to work, they've gone to run their business, they come back, they're stressed out. The wife can sense they're stressed out. And I think sometimes what happens is the wife tries to push the man to talk about their feelings or how stressed out they are. And the man just wants to be quiet and just chill, don't they? So then what tends to happen is then that men switch off or they retaliate like leave me alone and stuff like that. So then the woman thinks that's a bit of a conflict issue and then buttons are pressed and this, that, and the other. From a man's point of view, are you a good communicator, number one? And if so, or if you're not, how do you become a good communicator to your wife?
Yeah. To be honest with you, I've been on two ends of the scale. So I've
Mhm.
had to learn this through my own experiences. So I had therapy when I was depressed, but the reason I was depressed is because I wasn't talking about my emotions.
Yeah.
So when I go back to when I was younger, like in my 18, 19 years, I was this confident kid. I was like a popular kid at school. Everybody was like, oh, Luke, you know, you're going to be this superstar pro, whatever.
Yeah.
When I got all this rejection, I started hiding. I started like bottling it up. I started feeling I'm not good enough. You know, all those things that technically go through your mind when you get battered by
Yeah.
no rejection, no. So I've learned that's, I guess, a skill to be open and
Hmm.
vulnerable. Vulnerability as a man is so powerful. Obviously, as guys and men, when we've been carrying stress all day. Maybe we do carry a lot of the weight with financial. Maybe
Hmm.
we don't. I don't know everyone's situation. For me, I do carry a lot of the financial.
Hmm.
So For me, I I'd rather word vomit it or at least get it out in the open because I know it. I know even if I'm repeating myself, because even Abby turns around to me and she goes, "Oh, you just keep saying the same thing." I'm like,
Yeah,
so what? Like, I want to tell you again and again because I feel better
yeah,
for getting it out, even if I'm exhausted, even if you know what, even if I've had a day where I've been on calls all day and I've done podcasts, I've been in Nottingham, wherever. I'm like, the thing I will say, she'll always check in with me and want to know about my day. So
yeah,
she'll always go, what went well?
yeah.
What was good? And I think as well, it's not just that simple, how are you? Or
Hmm.
it's just navigating that. So it makes you think a little bit rather than like, oh, I can't be bothered or whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah,
it's
totally.
easy.
And also, I think so. Let me ask you the flip side of that, because that's what
Yeah.
Abby's doing. How do you become a better communicator to your wife? Because I know
Okay.
when I talk to a lot of men, they don't know how to communicate properly to their wives or find out how they're feeling. Because what tends to happen is a man will say something, the woman will say something back, and the man will go, "Okay, that's it, that's enough." You know what I mean? They've had
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
one or two words with each other, which could be great words like how's your
Yeah.
day? Yeah, fine, and that's it. You know what I mean? So how do men or how do dads become better communicators with their wives or their partners so the relationship can grow and evolve?
Yeah, good question. I mean, I just want to say as well, here that I'm by no means perfect. I'm an average person that makes mistakes and we go things wrong. But just from my experience, communication can be through action.
Yeah,
So for me, my actions do speak louder than words sometimes. So obviously, sometimes I talk and explain something and go on and on and on, and I know Abby's just like, Luke,
yeah,
just shut up and do it,
yeah,
kind of thing. So like for example, I'll give you an example. Remy's, she's crawling around the living room. She's crying. Maybe we're both in the kitchen or something.
hmm,
She won't look at me. She won't
yeah,
look at me to like go on, Luke, do it, do it. It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's just if I go and instantly go and do it and change a nappy if she's had a poo or something like that, she don't go, well done, Luke.
No, no,
It's
no.
just, it's a normal thing to do. It's just that instinct. It's like, I feel a lot of, I mean, dads I've spoken to,
Mhm.
it's as though they go, well, I didn't know. Well, why didn't you just tell me to do it? Or why didn't you just, and it's like, but that's the problem. That's where the woman or your wife, your partner, I know Abby's said, yeah, but Luke, like, I don't want to tell you all the time. Just like action it, get it done.
Yeah, yeah. And I think also, I think women don't want to tell us all the time because men, well, women think men should get it anyway. So they were like,
Yeah.
okay, you should get it. Come on, you know that nappies need changing or whatever. But also, they don't want to sound patronizing. And they don't want to sound like they're degrading the man by having to tell them to do things. And I like what you said about action because I think because men are very practical, dads are very practical, we will show our feelings to our wives or our partners differently in a more practical way
Yep.
rather than verbal way. So, for instance, like changing the nappy, putting the bins out,
Yeah.
making a cup of tea, and all these sort of things that to some people that's just a standard, but to other dads, that's how I communicate my love to you, or that's how I show you I love you, or that and the other. So it's all about love languages and love communication languages, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's just that's so important what you just said there as well. And I think we've also said we've sat down and it's these questions that I mean, obviously I'm a coach in a way, so
Yeah,
I guess I've got a bit of that in me to ask these questions. But even when I've spoken to dads in the past, it's like I would sit down with Abby again when Remy's asleep and say, look, what do you want me to do
yeah,
in my role as a father, as a
yeah,
dad? What do you feel's missing? And
yeah.
she might, she said to me in the past, Abby's been really honest. She's gone, do you know what, Luke? I just feel like you just think, oh, Abby will do it. It's fine. Oh,
Mhm.
Abby will do it. It's all right. She'll just crack on and do it. And do you
Yeah,
know what? That hurt me,
yeah,
knowing that that's how she felt. So guess what? I didn't just sit there and go, fuck it then. I
yeah. Which is
basically
easy
went,
to do.
it
Yeah,
is easy to do when you're
yeah,
tired, when
yeah,
you're tired and you're drained and listen, I've got finances, so I've got business to do. That stuff, yeah, I can do it in small doses, but actually for me, I wanted to be an active role in this. I didn't want to be passive. I didn't just want to let it all go by and be like, she'll do it. It
yeah,
was just, okay, so give me an example then, and then let me know. And it's things such as, well, Luke, you've got your schedule because we're obviously both business owners, so we share calendars. We have to like swap and change, and again communicate like I'm doing this, I'm doing that. It's not a routine. It's not like
yeah,
set
yeah, of course.
same every week. So
Yeah,
it's just again having that balance where we both have that time
yeah,
for
yeah.
ourselves and
definitely.
around Remy.
So we've spoken about number one, setting boundaries, because I think that's really
Yeah.
important as a dad. Number two, we've spoken about being open and honest, and also honest to being critical with each other and saying, look, this is what I
Yeah.
want,
Yeah.
and not responding negatively or with conflict and stuff like that. How did you get to this point then? How did you get to this point? Because I know a lot of dads going, that's great. I'd love that. I'd want to have the conversation with my missus, or I'd love to have a sit down relationship. I'd love to do all these sort of things that you're talking about. But how do I get there?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a tough gap to bridge. But what I would say is it's about who do you want to become as a dad?
Yep.
So who, not about how. It's not the how do I be a better dad? How do I do this? How do I lose weight? Whatever it is, how do I get to there X to Y in the fastest way possible? It's like, who do I need to become in order to be that person?
Yeah.
So for me, it's like I've had to go deep. Like I've been out on walks with Remy, pushing the strap and gone, right, what dad do I want to be? Who do I want to become? So for me, it's like I've got to be a bit of a man here and step up and go, right, I want to be like, for me, my dad won't mind me saying this, but I know as a kid he had to work. The generation back then was the dad works,
Yeah.
put the
Yeah.
food on the table. So he did see me, but he didn't see much of me from ages of 0 to 4, I'd say.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
wasn't much involvement. It was all on my mum, right? I always said that I didn't want to
Mm.
follow suit on that. I wanted to be a, a
Much
big
better
part.
than
Like I go, yeah, like so I go swimming with her and do all that stuff. So the communication part, it's just you've really got to make it's hard as a dad because if you're busy, but you've got to make that conscious effort
Mhm.
to think. You got to slow down and check in with yourself and go, have I checked in with my partner? Like I'll say, have I checked in with Abby? Even there's times where I randomly just say, is everything like I won't just ask like, how's Remy? I'll go, how are you? And
Mm.
she'll be like, I'm all right. Are you sure you're all right? Is
Mm.
anything you want me to help you with? Or she'll be like, no, 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 I'm fine, thank you. Stuff like that.
Yeah. I think one of the key things that as dads we need to do more of, coming back to how do we get to that point, is think about life before kids. Because before you had kids, you did date nights, you made effort.
Yeah.
You put time aside to go and take each other out. You bought each other gifts or and this, that, and the other. And when kids come along, it's very easy to forget about who you were before children and the efforts you made before children. So then what you tend to do, it's all about the kids. You start communicating like through the kids. You start doing actions through the kids for your wife and your partner. When really sometimes setting time aside, going, right, this weekend I've booked this or I'm doing this, and it's just me and you. I've organised the mother-in-law or the mom to come and have the kid, blah, 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 blah. I think sometimes you've got to revert back to who you were before kids to really then build that relationship of, then you can get to that point of communication, can't you?
Yeah, definitely. And I can just really relate to what you're saying there. I mean, I think it was 6 weeks into becoming a mummy and daddy that we had our first date night child free, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
But even like this weekend, we're very blessed to have great, obviously, family support
yeah,
that each week she goes there. She's at nursery now. This weekend, we're going to the Christmas market. She's having a sleepover. So we're having our own time, but we also like I've like been out to Dubai, I'm going out to Europe next year and stuff. So it's important that we have our own. So it's like our own independent time.
yeah,
Then it's having our time on our own. And
yeah,
then it's having our time together as a family. And then it's having our time, daddy, daughter, mother,
yeah,
daughter time, So it's a
definitely.
it's a tough one to juggle, but all I will say is that, gosh, the energy that you gain from just really making that commitment
Yeah.
is a big difference. But we schedule everything. I know that sounds pretty
No, no,
anal, but
it doesn't.
organization. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it
it's we,
doesn't.
we schedule it in. We'll just put like Luke and Remy or
Yeah,
Abby and Remy or like Remy with Nana,
yeah.
Remy with Mama, stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that in
of
our
course, yeah.
calendar.
Yeah, yeah. No, I
Yeah,
get that. And I think it's really important. Let's go back to when you were
yeah,
saying about the purpose of when you lost your purpose of being a footballer, you didn't know where you were going and all that sort of thing.
yeah.
As a dad, how important is it to have a purpose now?
Oh, massive. I mean, gosh, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just it goes into every facet of your life, right?
Mhm.
I think guys they want to, it's like you get up and go, isn't it? You get up and you got somewhere to be, or you
Yeah,
get up, you got something to attack, or like a challenge. We like something to work
of course.
towards.
Yeah,
I had, to be honest, I had openly said this at the beginning, and this is going back onto like obviously the dad role. Um, I struggled to really find that love for Remy at an early age
yeah,
because she wasn't giving me anything back.
Yeah,
right?
I
So
hear
so so
that.
when yeah, so when you talk about, I mean, I'm sure you've heard this a lot, but when you talk about purpose, for me, it's about feeling and seeing something in return for my efforts.
Yeah.
That gives me purpose, knowing that like, yes, I've kind of ticked that. Like for me now, I mean, Remy's not really talking at the moment, but she smiles when I walk in and
Yeah.
things like that. It's like I know she recognizes me and she's happy to see me. So I feel like I'm getting something back, which
Yeah.
means I've got purpose. I want to be this dad, and it
Yeah,
fires you up.
yeah, totally. It's really funny you say that because I remember like the first 3 months. I always say that I've got an older daughter and a younger daughter, and I think the first 3 months are literally like you're just there, aren't you? You're just
Yeah.
there. There's no give or take. There's nothing. Obviously, you got to give you and help out and all these sort of things, but you don't get anything back. It's only when they start, like you say, when you walk in a room and they smile. When they start talking to you and they start bantering with you, and when you start doing things together, you're like, this is my ROI. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? This is my flipping why I am doing what I need to be doing because look what I get back from it. So I really resonate with that, definitely. Let's talk about then moving forward because obviously there's going to be a lot of dads here, business owners, entrepreneurs. I know because I ran 3 successful gyms before COVID. I was doing 120 hours a week, 90 PT
Wow.
a week, all that sort of thing. So I know what running a business takes. I know what you lose yourself in a way. And for me, COVID was a blessing in disguise because I sold it all off. I was like, cool, I'm done, sort of thing. How do you learn to manage business, entrepreneurship, family? I know you talk about scheduling, I know you talk about calendars and all that sort of thing, but
Mm.
how do you manage burnout? How do you manage time where you're stressed out and all that? What do you do specifically that helps you so you don't let it affect you being a dad?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Good. Having fun, you
Hmm.
know, enjoying what I do,
Yeah.
enjoying things that are not work related. So it actually, I'm somebody that likes knowing that my brain's working. I don't
Hmm.
know. I can't do brain numbing things. I don't
Okay.
know.
Yeah.
I can't just sit into Netflix and chill. That's
Oh,
just not in me.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
some people love it. Like that's their way of recharging,
Hmm.
or gaming or something. I've got to be outdoors. I've got to get up and go. So for me, I do ultra marathon running. I don't
Hmm.
have no music on. I am just running in nature. I've got trails near me. I absolutely love it. It slows me down, decompresses. And yeah, I think about work and I think about life and I think about work. It's kind of just waves. Your thoughts
Yeah.
just
Cool.
go all over the place.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, football was my hobby, but again, I feel like I've got too much of an attachment of a competitive edge to it because obviously I was going to be once my profession.
Yeah.
But I just love getting outdoors, doing these events. So like high roxers, I'm getting into like deadly dozens, all these things to challenge me. But
Yeah.
I think the main thing for me is just whatever it is. I mean, I do hot pod yoga. So as I said to you before, you're going in a tent in there. It's like you're in a little tent. You're in a world. You've got no phone, no watch on or anything. It's just complete switch off, calmness, stillness, something where you can just let your thoughts run out. I'm not a meditator or anything like that. I mean, I'm spiritual, but I'm not like really spiritual. But I
Mhm.
think it's just if you really want to kind of like balance or find out when to dip in and out of those roles and be conscious so you're tapping into your actual self, inner self.
Yeah.
I think you've got to have calmness. You've got to have some calmness to the chaos and storm that you're in because, as you've just said, I got that. I hit burnout because I couldn't breathe. It's
Yeah.
like that. It's like I was talking from as soon as I got up at 4:30 in the morning till I got into bed at 9:30 at night. It's like my mouth didn't shut up. And
Yeah.
then as soon as my head hit the pillow, I
Yeah.
felt like I was still talking, but in my head.
Yeah. I know. I
so,
remember
so,
that
so,
feeling. Yeah.
so there was none of that. So I think, yeah, being an entrepreneur, I mean, let's be honest, you're never really going to switch off. I don't think we can say that you're going to really, really switch off. But I think as well, like there's something that I do in business, and it really works well for me. Is actually, I know I talk about scheduling a lot, but there's 4 types of days that I like working on, and it's a framework that I use, which is fun days,
Hmm.
family days,
Hmm.
free days,
Yep.
and then I call it a fuck it day. But because we all have those days where we just think, oh, do you know what? It's gone. Like not the whole day's gone, but the part of the day's just like, look, it's gone. You can't control it.
Yeah.
That's it. And
Yeah.
that for me, it's just because I'm checking in with myself. I'm quite aware. I do a lot of auditing and stuff. I think for me, it's like we spoke. We've got holiday. We go on holiday next week,
Yeah.
and it's like we've not been away for 5 months.
Hmm.
So it's like it's time for a bit of a holiday. We've got another holiday coming up at the end of the year. So it's just being aware of
Yeah.
what you're doing outside of work, I think.
Yeah. I think I like what you said about finding things outside of the family, like for you, it's ultra running, doing
Yeah.
the competition and stuff like that. I think that would be a great way for most dads to find some type of edge outside the family that they can offload to, switch off. Um, and also just I use fitness like you use fitness, so gyms and stuff. I'm training to do a duathlon and all these sort of things. So finding
Nice.
so it's finding something that's away from the family, finding something that's away from work, that's your thing that you can take ownership of. It's really key. Another thing that I want to talk about quickly is peace, because once you find peace, it's a very, very strong action to have. And what I mean by that is a lot of dads are stressed out,
Mm.
they're lost, they lack purpose, they're fighting probably lots of conflict with their ex-partners and all these sort of things.
Yeah.
And coming to real peace with the person you are and the situations you're in, it's a game changer. Would you agree?
I massively agree. I think the question that got me, and this is when I had a business coach, Nathan, which you'll relate to this, is he just sat with me, looked at me in the eyes, and went, "Luke, who are you?
Hmm.
If I strip your business away from you tomorrow, who are you?"
Yeah.
I didn't know the answer.
It's
It's
scary.
because
Scary.
everything was just
Yeah.
attached to work. I mean, and even somebody I met a couple of months back just turned around to me, this guy, and he said, "Luke, when was the last time you just watched the sunrise?
Mm.
When was the last time you just watched the sunset? No phone, not video, and it going, I'm getting just sat there
Hmm.
and just watched it." And it's stuff like that that you go, "Oh God, I can't remember. Oh God." Yeah, I'll probably on my phone answer an email or a call or something, and that's peace, being happy in your own company with
Mm.
absolutely no distractions. Like some people can't sit in silence.
Mm. Yeah. And I think we're so used to noise, aren't we? We're so used to noise on our cell phones, on our social medias. If you're a businessman or an entrepreneur dad, you're so used to emails, ringing, picking your messages up, firefighting, all these sort of noises that go on. I know I used to, I suppose like you, when you used to go on holiday, you still took work with you and
Yeah,
these sort of things that you did. And only like this year I found true peace. And that question that person asked, your business coach asked you, who are you when you take your business away? I remember saying that to myself this year, who am I if I took fitness away?
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, who am I if without fitness and without going to the gym and without helping
yeah,
other
yeah.
dads and blah, 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 who am I? And if you can't answer that, then you've got to do a lot of therapy and a lot of self-work. It's like most things, isn't it? You've got to be honest and raw with yourself, don't you?
Yeah, that's the vulnerability part that we were talking about earlier
Yeah.
on. Yeah, you're absolutely spot on. I think it's like, what do you enjoy doing?
Yeah.
If you go back to your childhood, what did you do? Did you like building bike ramps? Did you like playing Kirby? Did you like playing volleyball? Paddle seems to be a massive thing at the minute. Whatever it is, if it's being active, cool. Like,
Yeah.
and I think another thing that I'd say, and something that I've battled with a lot through business, and you'll relate to this. I'm sure dads will relate to this. Watching is loneliness. We get lonely from time to time. We feel a little bit like no one seems to understand or hear us or want to listen to what we're talking about because we're always talking about numbers or
Mm.
sales or people, whatever. I think it's about finding a community
Hmm.
of either men, which I know
Yeah.
you're building,
Yeah.
or just find a community which allows you to disconnect
Yeah.
from your work, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, totally. Okay, so how can people find out about you? Because I know you run a business. I know. Quickly, just explain what your business does, what you do as a business for your business, so people dads can get a better understanding.
Yeah, definitely. So in terms of like business side, so I technically work with solo business owners. So
Mhm.
someone who's either got a side hustle on the side, wanting to break free from the 9 till 5 and the 5 till 9 work,
Yeah.
or someone that's got an established business but is a bit stuck in the rut. So I coach from inside. So what I do is I look at where they are, checking in, and we extract where the problems are, and then actually they already know what the problems are. The whole
Yeah.
point of it is we coach from that
Yeah.
in
Awesome.
and we build from there. The fitness and the health side, obviously I incorporate that into the business. Let's be
Yeah.
honest, if
Very
who are
close.
you if you've not got your health's everything. So that's practically what I do.
Awesome, man. So how can people find out where you are? Is there email, Instagram? How can people best find where you are?
Brilliant. Yeah, so just put my name, Luke Beastall, on any social media platform. I'm like on LinkedIn, Instagram, like podcast if you want to listen to that. I mean, obviously, Nathan, you're going to come on as well, buddy. So Master Your Life Beyond the Boardroom podcast if you want to listen to what I get up to and the things. So by
Yeah.
all means, connect with us. Be happy to chat.
What I'll do is I'll get all the links and I'll put them in the bottom of in the comments section, description section. So if any dads out there want to know more about your business, know more about how to contact you, and know more about what you do, they can just go through the Instagram or YouTube links to connect with you. Is that all right?
That's great. Yeah, appreciate that.
Dads, if you got value out of this episode, do me a favor, share it with another dad. Guys, we need to really think about who needs to hear this message that Luke has brought to us, because I think it's so important that there's dads out there that are entrepreneur, there's dads out there that do own businesses that are feeling lonely, have poor communication with their family, and probably feel a bit not understood from their wives. And I think what Luke brought to this about being better communicators, having time out with just you and your partner, and also how to ask yourself the question, who am I without the business, is probably a question that most dads, business or non-business owners, can ask themselves. If you like this, drop a review. Otherwise, Luke, I appreciate your time and thank you so much for jumping on, and we will see you soon.
Thanks again. I've really enjoyed this episode.
Thank you, man. Speak to you soon, Luke. Thank you.